before we wrap up here by looking at the standings, you mentioned this earlier, Odell Beckham. Where do you think he signs?
Oh yeah.
Or okay, a few things here. Where do you think he signs? / where should he sign? And then does he get signed? Or is it a scenario where, some teams like it takes maybe 4 or 5 weeks or whatever? I think he'll get signed eventually. I don't think he'll sit out the rest of the season, but I don't know that teams are just clamoring to have him on their team.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think. Well, you've already seen he's not going to get picked up immediately, because teams aren't clamoring to have him, like you said. But I think he will eventually get signed because as the weeks go by, some team will be pressing to make the playoffs or feel like they need another piece, and they'll bite the bullet and they'll sign him.
Yeah, but kind of a credit to him. Like he's built up his image so much. We think, oh, Odell Beckham, but he's not the receiver he was 4 or 5 years ago, right? Like with the Giants. I mean, you're getting just an average starting receiver now. I think you're not like some big time playmaker or superstar, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know that he definitely had a lot of skill, but I think he whatever just kind of propped him up to be this superstar. When he's not really that guy.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I don't know if I would say average, maybe slightly above, but not like a superstar. And the problem is of all the problems that come with him.
Right.
No team. Let me put it this way: whoever signs him is not going to really be happy about it. You know what I mean? But who do you think he's going to go to?
I definitely think the Raiders or the Vegas Raiders are in play. They had to release the number 1 receiver. And I think that, what's all been happening with them this year, they have nothing to lose at this point. They have to try to win that division. I think he can possibly help them. So I think I would put the Raiders at the top. I think you got to watch out for the Rams. I think they put Deshaun Jackson on waivers or released him, who was kind of their quote unquote. I don't know if he was making that many big plays for him. That's why I released him. So I think those 2 teams come to mind right off the bat, Raiders or Rams. I think and we've talked about this too, whoever it is, I think it's got to be a team that has a pretty established, strong quarterback that's, not going to put up with his BS, right? That he can't really push around, which I'm not sure Baker Mayfield is that guy, or really even Daniel Jones. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, or maybe Mayfield was the one who was going to snap back at him and just cause more problems. One of the 2.
Right. Yeah.
I like the Raiders. I can see him in the Raiders uniform. I can see, and it's just like the Raiders don't care; they'll get anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
and based on what's already happened to them, Odell Beckham's not a big deal right now. Yeah.
Exactly, that too. And when you just think about like franchises with a squeaky clean record and like clean cut players, the Raiders don't come to mind. That and the Rams, I could see that maybe they'd be. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that I could see the Buccaneers maybe. Not that they need him, but I could just see that because I think Brady obviously knows how to handle him because they have Antonio Brown. Brady turned that around, and I could just see them adding another piece, and just like continuing their march to another Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and I can see the story where like he kind of quiets down, and then all of a sudden he makes some key catches in the playoffs of the Super Bowl. It's like a redemption story, I think we talked about the Titans maybe because what's his name has been hurt a lot this year, right? The guy Julio Jones. Yeah. So the Titans are kind of, I think, like I said, I don't know if they'll probably win the division, but I think especially now with Derrick Henry out, they probably feel like they need something to kind of give him a little boost now.
Yeah.
The last team I'll say, I don't think this never crossed my mind, but I saw somebody Photoshop him in this uniform, and maybe it was just because it was a fan account of this team, so maybe like they were just hoping for it. But it was the Ravens, which is interesting. I guess he would work with Lamar. It would work with Lamar Jackson there, maybe, but I never crossed my mind. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. One team I'll throw out there too is the Patriots, where that you're the drop of a hat if we don't like what you're doing, and he. Not that he's not on the same level as Randy Moss, but there's some similarities there where, it's 2 years Randy Moss spent with the Raiders who's kind of underperformed, right? Then goes to the Patriots and totally different guy again, right? So I think I'm not sure they'll do it, that they're interested, but I think that's a scenario that could possibly work.
I was going to say Patriots, and you make a good point that there's no scare off their back. They'll just cut him at the drop of a hat if they want to.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, I don't know if he's worth it. Like, Randy Moss, he like in Oakland, he had some really questionable years. Remember that time he just like gave up basically one game. He was on the bench, looked like he
Yeah.
just didn't care. But he was still Randy Moss. I mean, and I think they felt like it was worth it. I'm thinking about Bill Belichick. I'm thinking about like somebody bringing this to Belichick's attention or something, and he'd just be like why? Like Odell Beckham, like why? You know,
Brady. They had Brady at that point, who was the best quarterback in the league, arguably. They don't have that now. All right, so yeah, that was just interesting. But yeah, I don't think he goes there.
That's another thing. That's another thing. I don't think they want to taint Mac Jones. Mac Jones is already showing promise. I don't think they want anything that's going to taint his future at all with bringing some problem receiver with him. You know what I mean?